Hello everyone, welcome aboard. So again we have brought you the new session about daily current affairs capsule, and this has been brought to you by Himalaya IAS classes. If you want to join IAS 2021 batch or KS exam batch in English or Kannada medium, you can visit us at www.himalayaiasclasses.com, or you can reach out to us on this given number. So significance of the current affairs is in prelims, you have straightforward questions from the current affairs topics. In the mains, current affairs is used directly as well as indirectly, okay, to answer the questions, and it fetches you very good marks. In essay, where you have to write multiple dimensions of any topic, it helps you a lot in building opinions, and most of the interview questions are related to the contemporary issues related to current affairs. Okay, so let's get started with the first item of today. Again, every day we are coming up with this. So military level talks which is being held between India and China to resolve the LAC, line of actual control issue, is positive. That's what has been said by Defense Minister of India. Okay, syllabus wise this is part of international relations, and international relations is the part of general studies paper 2. Okay, so military level talks, lieutenant generals, they are talking and it is going positive. Before that we had talks between the Ministry of External Affairs as well as Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China. Okay, both the countries have agreed to continue talks to resolve the border dispute. Okay, and India has put it clearly that they want the restoration of the status quo, means that as things were in the April 2020, plus they want pulling back of the Chinese troop from the LAC. Also, there were two articles related to it in the today's newspaper. So another article talks about that standoff, as we are seeing, we have seen it in 2017 when Doklam issue happened, and this keeps happening again and again, and we have seen that standoff cannot be quickly resolved through the talks. Okay, so because one issue is there are multiple areas like Pangong Taso. Okay, so look at it in the map. It is in Ladakh region. It's a saltwater lake. The area is also known as finger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, Galwan River Valley, again located in Ladakh region. Then Gogra, this is again a place in Ladakh region. So please locate these places in your atlas. Then frequency, we have seen that it increases after the melting of the snow. Okay, so onset of the summer, which happens after in March, April. So we see that in the May, June, we see this type of incidents, their frequency increases along the LAC. So why not to man more people, deploy more number of army personnel in the line of actual control area. Also, see, this is not something which is happening just out of the blue. We have had informal summits in the Wuhan after the Doklam issue. Then we have seen last year there was informal summit when the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping, he visited the Mahabalipuram, okay, Mamallapuram in Tamil Nadu. So what happens to all those dialogues where we have already made it very clear that everything has to be discussed and resolved by the dialogue? So why this standoffs are actually happening? So there might be some other intentions, or there might be a different directive from the Chinese political leadership. So we have to be cautious about that. Okay. Next article today talks about the micro, small and medium enterprises revival package, which was announced as part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan Tranche 1. So syllabus wise, MSME, it's backbone of Indian economy, forms the syllabus or prelim syllabus Indian economy. And in the mains, Indian economy is the part of general studies paper 3. So what has happened actually? So government has said that it is going to provide 20,000 crore equity support to the MSME. See, there are two types of support. One is around 3 lakh crore of collateral free loan which will be given to the MSME. Second is 20,000 crore equity support to the MSME. Okay, so when they are stressed because of this COVID lockdown impact, so in that regions they don't go under heavy debt. So government has decided to put 20,000 crore equity support to the MSME. So this equity supports, actually it cannot be finalized till the time RBI issues the guidelines. Okay, so banks will be providing subordinate debts to the promoter. See, subordinate debts to the promoter is nothing but it is like restructuring of the loan. You will be giving this money to the promoter of the MSME, the loan which they already are having, okay, that will be restructured. Maximum money which can be given, it is 75 lakh. Okay, so RBI is yet to issue the guidelines, and RBI approval is required for higher provisioning. Means, okay, how much more money can be given, because as per the current guideline, if let us say something becomes NPA, then you cannot give them money, you cannot give them more loan. Okay, so for that, this stimulus measure or the support measure of the government, it waits the RBI's guideline. Next topic today, again, it is related to the Indian economy. So monetization of the deficit, okay, whether it should happen, it should not happen. Okay, so this article talks about that. So subject wise, it is part of the Indian economy in the prelims, and Indian economy is the part of general studies paper 3. So it starts the argument by saying that Moody, which is a credit rating agency, okay, it rates the countries, whether this country is good for investment or not. So India's rating earlier was BAA2, and now it has been moved to BAA3. See, this is the second last category. After that, there is junk category, which is considered pretty bad for the investment purpose. Now, what Moody itself is saying, which is a credit rating agency, that this rating shift has not been done because of the COVID lockdown. So it consists of the economic factors or situations before the lockdown started. Okay, so that means we all know that situation of the economy was not pretty good before even the lockdown. So the institutional investors, so the foreign investors, they actually look at these credit rating agencies. You might ask yourself that why do we care about some credit rating agency? But the institutional investors, they are bound by these standards. So once the rating is moved from here to here, a lot of people, they might, try to reduce their risk. Once it moves to the junk, a lot of people will start exiting Indian markets, okay, from the investors' point of view. So we must work towards the upgrade. Okay, so what are the major challenges which has to be addressed? They are the growth, which is shrinking now. RBI has said, World Bank has said, we'll discuss in the later slides. Then the increasing amount of debt. So in order to fight this COVID crisis, already we had heavy burden of the foreign debt. That also might increase. Then the financial sector weakness, like bank have highly stressed asset, and that stressed assets will increase after this lockdown period. Okay, so what this article says, we must use discretionary fiscal stimulus. So what is discretionary fiscal stimulus is like, see, fiscal deficit is the fiscal deficit is something when government spends more. Okay, so non-discretionary fiscal stimulus is automatically because of, let us say, economy slowdown, whatever money we thought will come, that has not come, your fiscal deficit has increased. Whereas discretionary fiscal stimulus is deliberately by your policy, you increase the fiscal deficit, you try to bring in more money to the economy. Okay, so what are the challenges in there? So what this article's main argument is, we need to increase the discretionary fiscal stimulus, or deliberately we should put in more money to the system. See, if we put more money, we don't have to take more debt. Otherwise, you have to take the debt from some foreign entity that will again downgrade your rating. Also, more money into the system can push the growth. Okay, we know that you would have heard about the Phillips curve. So Phillips curves is, if inflation grows, it reduces the unemployment. Okay, it pushes the growth. And this is the part of the modern monetary theory. Okay, so monetization of the deficit is good, as well as we are not going for very heavy inflation. See, too much of inflation is also bad, but in order to stimulate growth, a lot of times we need at least some sort of stimulation. Okay, so some sort of pumping money is required. And because there is a huge level of unemployment in our country, so that is why it should not be a problem if we put a little bit of money, so that level of inflation can be managed. Okay, next article of today, it talks about the decentralized response. Okay, so centralization is what central government is doing from the topmost level. Then first level of decentralization is at the level of the state government, and second level of the decentralization is at the level of the local government. Okay, so it talks about the use of local government, or the third tier of the governance. So syllabus wise, it is part of the polity, and polity in the mains is part of the general studies paper 2. Okay, So need for the decentralized response, which we can now acknowledge more than ever in times of this COVID crisis. So role of the local government has become very much, clear, that all the information gathering of the patients, monitoring, and even the action part is happening all at the local level. Okay. So we must empower them fiscally in terms of money as well. The four major issues which have came out during this COVID pandemic is economy, which is facing a lot of issues, the health infrastructure which we need to build, the livelihood opportunities. We have seen thousands of or lakhs of migrants who have moved or lost their livelihood, and the resource mobilization. So first and foremost, there must be a functional mapping. See, all of us know we provided a constitutional backing to this urban local bodies and Panchayati Raj institutions by 73rd and 74th Amendment. There were some mandatory provisions. Then there were some optional provisions which were left to the will of state, that they will provide these works to the urban local bodies or Panchayati Raj institutions, but that has not been done yet. So the first thing is we should do a functional mapping. What things can be assigned to them? Plus, assigning with work also needs assignment of money. So the tax collection of them remains very low. Economic survey of 2017-18 clearly stated that the collection of the property tax, which comes in the urban local government structure, it is very low. They gave example of the Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, a lot of major cities of India. When it comes to the PRI, see, property tax is the main source of income of all these local government bodies, and the collection of this tax is pretty low in India. Okay, they can also use bonds. Okay, bond is something where you raise it to give a promised sum of money after some maturity date. Okay, so some Amrit cities under Amrit project have done this. So this can be also done. They can use bonds to create some funds for their MP LADS scheme which has been closed. Now those funds can be used and assigned to the local government bodies. Okay. Also, the need of the hour, the article argues that COVID, in the name of COVID, a grant has to be given. So 15th Finance Commission, which is preparing its report now, they must provide some measure of grant in aid to the Panchayati Raj institution or urban local bodies, and the sharing should be on the basis of the State Finance Commission. So urban local government, we know that State Finance Commission is appointed by the Governor of India every 5 years. Also, one more thing the article talks about is the NDMA tax, NDMA National Disaster Management Act of 2005. It considers disasters in terms of man-made or natural calamities, but it ignores this virus pandemic or epidemic situation. So we must modify that as well in order to include this type of pandemic situation in the definition of disasters. Okay. Next article today talks about Indo-Nepal relations. So we have seen a lot in the last month that has happened in the India-Nepal. So this article talks about India should take a lead, and it must try to restore the natural balance of relations between India and Nepal. So syllabus wise, it is part of international relations, and international relations in turn is a part of general studies paper 2. So India should take a lead in resolving the deadlock which has occurred between India and Nepal. See how it started, Dharchula to Lipulekh road, okay, which is in the way of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, that was constructed, inaugurated by our defense minister. Then Nepalese government, they protested. They said that this is not right, and they were protesting. It's not just now, they were protesting from long time, saying that okay, there are some border disputes which has to be resolved, but there was a delay from Indian government response as well. Then after this road, they responded and they mentioned the Sagoli Treaty, which was a result of first Anglo-Nepal War, which happened in 1815, saying that all the areas east of Mahakali River, it's a Himalayan river, including Limpiadura, Kalapani and Lipulekh. Okay, so as of now, Limpiadura and Kalapani, they are part of Pithoragarh district of India, which is in Uttarakhand. Lipulekh is at the tri-junction of India, Nepal and China, and it is the main pass which connects India to Tibet. And Nepalese claim that it belongs to them. Okay, so the problems were the delay of the Indian response, the political situation in Nepal itself, okay, were rising some political sentiments they were using the, something against India to mobilize the public support. Now, India and Nepal don't have like normal relationship what we see in the international relation. They have a special relationship. We see a lot of Nepalese workers, they work here. We also have Gorkha Rifles, where a lot of Nepalis, they fight for, on the side of Indian Army. Then we have a lot of Nepalese people like BP Koirala who fought in the Indian freedom movement as well. So this all special relationship is based on India-Nepal Friendship Treaty of 1954, and we must restore the natural relationship balance between India and Nepal. Okay. Next article today talks about the third aircraft carrier. Okay, so here the basic from the syllabus point of view, it is part of the internal security, defense related things, they come in the prelims examination, and internal security, it is part of the general studies paper 3. Okay, so the basic thing is we have as of now one working aircraft carrier. Aircraft carrier is something where you have a big ship which can even have the fighter planes and all. So it can cover a very large area in an ocean in terms of monitoring or in terms times of war. Okay. So we only have one working aircraft carrier as of now, whose name is INS Vikramaditya. Please do remember. The second one is under construction, whose name is INS Vikrant, which will be ready by 2022. What has happened actually, there has been a budgetary cut for the third carrier, which was planned to be constructed, that the construction of that was to be started, but that has been stopped. So we are a maritime country. See, we have a long coastline, and we are most of the trade by volume, if you see, more than 90%, it happens by the seaports. And also this development of this aircraft carrier can push the economy. See, there is a lot of parts which has to be developed inside the country. So a lot of MSMEs and manufacturing industries, they might be able to support it. And it is not an overnight job. Development of aircraft carrier, it's going to take years if we start now. And aircraft is something which cannot be avoided at this point of time in India. Okay. So please do remember Vikramaditya Vikrant. Okay. Next article of today talks about Intra-Afghan talks. So this is also something which we discussed in the month of May. So all of us know that Zalmay Khalilzad, who was appointed by the United States, okay, to negotiate peace talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban group. So this is about that. And syllabus wise, it is India's neighborhood. It is part of international relations, and international relations is the part of general studies paper 2. So here actually nothing, it's just a refreshment. It is the first round of Taliban talks with the Taliban. Okay, so here the parties who will be talking is going to be Afghanistan government plus Taliban. The talks are going to be held in Qatar. A lot of time they ask, first round of intra-Afghan talks, let us say where it took place. So that is going to happen in Qatar. Please do remember this place. Now here the main question which is being asked from past 1 month, and I think which is going to continue, we are going to see that in news again and again, what will be the India's response to Taliban? See, now Taliban is coming to talk as a legitimate government partner. Imagine like in India, some political parties are talking about something. Okay, so whereas earlier it has been a terrorist organization. Okay, we have seen the hijacking of Indian plane also in the past, and they were involved in a lot of terrorist activities as well in the past. So whether Indian government is going to talk to them directly or not, that is the question. So there are multiple views. A lot of people advocated, the Russian government as well as American, they are indicating India to come and start talking to Taliban as well. Whereas a lot of people in India also, they are saying that we should not be talking to them until and unless they become part of the political process. Okay. Next news item today talks about the report which has been released by the World Bank. Okay, that is the global economic prospects. So syllabus wise, in the prelims, it is part of the economy, and in the mains, Indian economy is the part of general studies paper 3. So first and foremost, to see every year UPSC asks one question about the report released by which institutions in the prelims. So please do remember that global economic prospect is released by World Bank. Major points what you can note down or you can use in your essay or mains answers to support your argument is, it has said that economy is going to contract in India by 3.2% of the GDP. Second, the world economy is going to face deepest recession since World War II, okay, because of this COVID situation. Plus, one more thing, for emerging market and developing economies, mostly like developing countries like India and China, which have a large informal workforce, they would be severely impacted. Why? Because a lot of people have lost their job who were working in the informal sector. Okay. Last article for today talks about the norms for sale of loans. So RBI has released a list of rules and regulations and norms for selling the loans which are already existing. So syllabus wise, it is part of the Indian economy, and in the mains, Indian economy is the part of General Studies paper 3. So this exercise is part of building a robust secondary market for the bank loan. See, primary market is something where the first time the sale happens, like when the securities are issued for the first time by any company through IPO, then it is launched in the primary market. After that, once you start trading those security on the stock exchange, that is known as secondary market. So once the loan has been issued, the RBI wants to build a robust secondary market so that any person who wants to, restructure their risk portfolio, they can transfer it to somebody else who can take that risk, they can take that money. Okay, so the robust market for robust secondary market for the bank loans, that is what the objective behind this move. What they have done is, there were already rules for the sale of loans, but they were fragmented across many circulars which were released by RBI from time to time. So now they are making a comprehensive list they have made, and that's what they have released. Okay. So a stressed asset to only recognized entities it can be sold. It's not that a stressed asset means which is not being served by their EMIs or payment. To recognized entities only, there will not be any minimum retention requirements. Also, RBI has done some changes in the securitization norms. So what is securitization norms? If you want to convert your any asset into security, tradable security, that is known as securitization. That's how you launch the IPO, initial public offering, issuing the stocks or shares of any company. So this change in the securitization norms has been done in accordance with the Basel guidelines. Okay, Basel guidelines is a guideline issued by guidelines issued for the banks to cover their risk, minimize their risk, and smoothen their functioning. So one year UPSC asked even this question, that Basel guidelines are related to what. So please do remember for this, for prelims, and take a look at these list of do's and don'ts in order to maximize your chances for selection in the UPSC prelims exam. And please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe the video, and press the bell icon so that you can get notified whenever we upload any new video. So hope you have liked the session. Please stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.